Hi guys, welcome back to the Naio Nails channel. Today on Not a Nail Tech, I'm going to be making the cutest, girliest rodeo nails you've ever seen, or at least that's what I think anyway. So I'm starting with Prima and just putting a nice even layer of this on, and the coverage is really amazing with Prima, so I'm just going to do one coat of this and then cure. And then I'm just going to use our ultra matte coat and pop a layer of that on top of the nail as well, because I'm going to be sponging on some other colours and it works a lot better on a matte effect nail. Once that's cured, I'm using Cherry Blossom and just a little piece of sponge and just dabbing that on in different areas. I want it to be a little bit cloudy and quite soft looking. I'm going to leave that uncured and then take Trixie, and we're going to do the same thing again with just a little piece of sponge and dabbing that on in the areas we didn't dab the Cherry Blossom on. And just kind of blend it together a little bit. Leave that uncured again, and we're using our crystal clear acrylic powder, and we're just going to put a layer of this over the top, and it'll stick to that uncured gel and it'll just mattify the nail and add a little bit of texture, so when we do the sponging process again, the colours will stick really well and they'll be a little bit more obvious. So make sure that's all matte before it goes in the lamp, and then once it's cured we're going to dust off all that excess before repeating the process with the sponges. So again, just using Cherry Blossom, just dabbing that on in the same areas, and then we're going to do the same with Trixie as well. And like I say, you can see those colours showing up so much better on the second layer because we've got that acrylic powder layer on as well. Once that's cured, we're going to use our gel top coat nail sealer, and this is great for getting rid of any texture because it's a little bit thicker, and I'm just going to put a nice layer of this over the top and cure it, and you'll be able to see it smooths out any of the texture that the acrylic powder has left. And pop that into cure, and I'm just going to buff down the top of the nail because I'm doing a lot of detail work. I want it really matte so nothing slides around. I could have done a matte coat, but for some reason I decided I just wanted to buff it down. But by doing this, it does mean that if there was any texture left over from the acrylic powder, you've got rid of it. Once that's all dusted off, I'm using Dionysus and I'm just dotting this on in different areas where I want the different parts of my little rodeo horse to be. So the top one's going to be its head, then its chest, its bum, and then where its knees are going to sit as well. And I have to say, it took me quite a long time to get this right. I think I tried this at least another 2 times and wiped it off because I just couldn't get the shape right. I have to say, observational drawing is absolutely not my favourite thing to do, and I definitely need a bit of practice. So this is actually attempt number 3, so don't think I'm fantastic at this. I mean, even in the end, the shape of it could have been a little bit better, but I was quite happy. At least it looked like a horse. So I'm just going to go in and join up all of those sections. I do have a little reference image to the side of me that I'm using just to help me with the shape, but I'm just following along those dots and filling everything in. It did start to look a little bit like a seahorse at this point, and I did worry that I'd absolutely messed it all up, but I carried on, and I did get to a point where I'd added on some arms and legs and they just didn't look right. I think they were too small, the wrong angles, and the gel polish had kind of run together a little bit, so it kind of looked like it only had 2 legs instead of 4. So I did go back in and wipe them off eventually and just go in and redo the legs again just to make them look a little bit better. Like I say, everything kind of just blended together at this point and didn't look as even, and the shapes weren't quite right, so I really did decide that it wasn't the right shape and went in and wiped that off. I just used some gel residue remover and a lint-free wipe, and it only took 2 seconds to wipe those bits off. And because I wasn't feeling very brave, I thought I'd go in and do the horse's mane first before I tackled the legs again. Do you guys ever do that, where you go, I'm going to take an easy win right now and I'll go back in and do the harder stuff later? I do it all the time. And then just adding on a little tail. I do wish I'd done the horse a little bit smaller so I could have fit more of the tail on, but hey ho, what can I do at this point apart from start again? And I think I was absolutely done with starting again at this point, so that's what we're getting. I do still think the legs look a little bit on the small side, but that's what I've done and that's how it's staying because I ain't doing it again. But it does look like a horse, so that's a win in my books. And I'm just adding on some hooves for the horse as well, just to finish him off. I'm going to cure that, and then I'm just using Prima because I found that some of the strands of the hair had merged together a bit more than I wanted, so I'm just using that to add in some more texture in the hair and the tail. Not much though, and once it's all cured and top coated and everything, you won't really realise it's there. I'm going to pop that in the lamp to cure. Then we're using Exquisite, and this is the colour we're using for our rope and lasso, and I just wanted quite a neutral colour but not too light because everything else is quite bold on these nails, so I thought this colour would do the trick. And I'm just doing a little rope that goes across all of the nails and flows together so it looks like the same piece of rope, and it's just going to end on the little finger and it's going to have a lasso on the thumbnail as well. For this nail, I thought I would do a bit of a loop-de-loop with the rope just to give it a bit of detail and a bit of interest. So I'm just trying to make sure that it's nice and even. I'll thicken that up in a minute as well. And like I said before, on the thumbnail that I'm doing now, I'm going to be doing a lasso. So I'm just doing the rope coming up to a point and then an oval on the top of that, and that's going to look like the lasso spinning around. And I'm just going to do some little pieces on the ends of the rope as well, as if it's frayed. Like I say, I'm just going in here and just adding some frayed rope to the end, so I'm just putting some different lines on different lengths and splaying them out as well. And I'm doing the same on the lasso rope as well. Once I'm happy with that, I'm going to pop it in the lamp, and we're using Serious Black, and this is going to be our outline colour for the robe. So all I'm going to do is outline all of that robe. I'm going to add in some knots, and I'm also going to add in the marks of where the robe twists. So I'm just trying to keep this really, really fine because you really don't want too thick a line on this, otherwise you're just not going to see the brownie colour for the robe. And just like I say, add in some knots, so just some little extra lines at the top that cross over, and I'm also going to highlight those frayed bits as well. So a little trick for making it look like robe is you want to do slightly diagonal lines, and you want them to curve towards the outline on both sides, so it'll curve up as you start the line and curve up as you end the line as well. So I'm just going to continue and do this on all of the nails. I'll just let you watch this bit. When you're doing these twisty rope marks on something that curves around, it is easier if you can twist the nail and kind of continue to do the angle you were already doing. As you can see, you don't want the lines to be too straight or going in exactly the same direction because it won't look organic or like it's moving. You just want to, if you can, move the nail around. If not, you'll have to move your brush in the different angles. Once I'm happy with that, I'm going to pop them in the lamp to cure for 60 seconds, and then I'm mixing some Sun Quenched and Buttercup because I wanted a colour right in the middle of the two. I didn't want it too bright, I didn't want it too pastel, and I'm going to do some stars. So if you've seen any of the videos that I've done before doing stars, you'll know that I love to do them this way. I just find it easy, it's easier to get them even. So I just put a dot in the middle with the dotting tool and then use a fine detail brush and just pull it out at the top, the sides and the bottom as well. And then I'm just going in and changing them a little bit where I want it thicker, pulling it out more, anything like that. It just makes it really simple doing it this way and really easy to fix if it's not quite right. And I'm just going to do this on all of the nails. I decided that the horse also needed a little star, and it's kind of cute because it makes him look like a little sheriff, don't you think? So I continued and did some stars on all of the other nails, cured them, and then I'm using our gel top coat nail sealer just to seal all of that in. And I do like to use this if I've done any detail work because it evens out the whole nail. You don't have any of the line work stuck up, especially if I'm using a matte top coat afterwards. So I'm doing that on all of the nails, curing it, and then going in with matte coat as well. I'm going to pop them into cure, and there we have it, our very girly, very cute rodeo nails. What do you think, guys? I think these are super cute and fun. Definitely think I could have improved on the horse, but I think the rope and the stars is so cute. Anyway, if you want any of the products we've used today, they'll be linked down below and tagged in the video. We'd love to hear what you would like to see next, and we'll see you next time, guys. Bye.